Hi, hello.
Hi, welcome to Let Love Live. Let's talk marriage with Samantha and
Richard.
well, it's lovely having you here. Today we're just going to be talking about communication. We've been going through a marriage enrichment course over the past 3 Sundays. Thanks to Pastor Nick and his wife Chloe for facilitating. It was very, very informative. We learned a lot of things, but today we're just going to focus on communication.
Communication. It's one of those things where we say you're needless to say. Well, this is one of those things that might seem like it's needless to say that communication is important, which is why we want to say it. It's important to be able to communicate effectively, to communicate in a way that's positive and enriching in your relationship. So we just wanted to start off with communication, and then in the following weeks we can start, speaking about some of the other really important things that we learned, really fantastic things. And again, we both want to thank Pastor Nick and Pastor Chloe. Amazing, amazing seminar, and we look forward to future seminars that are coming up as well.
Yes, and I just want to encourage all couples that if you know there's a couple events going somewhere, please attend. It helps you to grow as a couple. It also helps you to realize that you might not be the only one going through what you're going through in your marriage. And when you are in a space where you can speak about these things openly and learn from other couples, it will definitely enrich your marriage.
Absolutely.
So, on communication, well,
Okay, so let me start off.
all right.
One of the things that came up in the seminar is that we are almost preconditioned in our society to be almost slightly negative about our partner or about our marriage, about your husband or your wife. It's almost like in adverts, or in the little things that we say to each other, the old ball and chain. That's a really negative connotation. A
Yes,
ball
it
and
is.
chain is something that you'd use, in
To drown
slavery or
yourself.
something. Yeah, to drown yourself, or in
Yeah.
slavery where they chained people down, and forced them to do certain things.
True.
Is that how you want to speak about your marriage? But I know I've said that at work. To my colleagues at work. Oh yeah, the old ball and chain, and ha ha ha. We all have a laugh, and we almost gloss over it, and it seems unimportant. But you know putting those inferences, creating those ideas in your mind about this is what my marriage is like, this is what my wife is like, this is what my husband is like. That's important because you are planting those seeds within yourself. So how you communicate, not just to your partner, but how you communicate about your marriage to other people, gives them a view as to how you see your marriage, and you start to act and behave based on the things that you say. You create your own paradigm. So it's important for you to communicate in a way which is, again, positive, enriching, and uplifting. So one of the really positive things we learned at the marriage seminar is take time each day to say something positive about your partner to them. Say something positive about your partner, and speak to each other, and actually tell them what you appreciate about each other. Yeah.
So, like, I really appreciate that my husband is a very, very caring person. When he begins to care about something or about someone, he will follow through. And, well, my life
Okay.
is a testimony. The fact that he cares for me each and every day, I can truly testify that he's very, very caring. And so, what do you say about your husband? What do you say about your wife? Even some people are surprised when they go somewhere, they're like, really? She told us her husband wasn't like that. No. Or some will be like, now it's lovely to meet your husband. It's true what you said about him. Or, oh, that's your wife. Oh, that is great. Yeah, it matches what he was saying. So let us just be careful of what we communicate to the world. And it's not only by what we say, it's about how we behave as well. Our behavior is communicating to the world what's going on inside our marriage. I know as we grew up, there was a term that was used in the African society that says what happens inside a house is covered by the roof is covered. So whatever happened in marriages, it was covered. It was never meant to be shared with anyone and everyone. So if you had a fight in the house, you didn't need to go on the streets and shout it to the world. You needed to keep it in. And so that is a very important thing, keeping the negative away from everyone, but also dealing with it.
Yeah.
So
So it's not
now
about
it's not
putting it under the
about just
carpet and
putting it under
saying
the
this
carpet.
bad thing has
Yeah.
happened. Doesn't matter. Let's just not speak about it. It's about dealing with it, but appropriately dealing with it. You know, you
Yeah.
don't. You know that old saying: you don't put out your dirty laundry in public. We all wash our clothes in the washing machine, and then you dry it, and then you wear it, and you go outside. Very so. Can you imagine if you had chocolate or mud spilt all over your shirt, and you just walk out there and say, "Well, this is me. This is the truth." Yes, it's the truth, but it's not something you need to display in an open forum.
Yeah. So then it comes to when you're dealing with issues in your own home, how you speak to one another. So, for example, usually when there is a heated argument, there are words that tend to spew out that are not supposed to be spoken. So we were being taught that let those words not be detrimental to the health of your marriage. So, yes, you might be upset, and yes, you want to communicate that you're upset, but choose your words wisely. Remember, you're speaking with someone whom you vowed to spend the rest of your life with, someone whom you tell the whole world that you love, someone whom, when you wake up in the morning, you still want to love them. So, the words that you choose when you are having an argument or having a heated discussion, let the words not be detrimental to the future.
And we'll come on to that a little bit more in this session, which is the 10 rules for a clean fight.
Yes.
You know, just like boxing, they've got rules about the what are they called? The Queensberry rules. They've got rules for having a clean fight, and this is people who want to punch each other out. So there are also rules for having a clean fight within your relationship. We'll come on to that shortly. But just carrying on with the thoughts about how we communicate to each other, how we communicate about each other. I think, Samantha, you said it really well when you mentioned when other people then meet you, they'll say, they'll start joining up the dots from they might not even say it out loud, but it's important, how, you are viewed. To me, it's important how you are viewed by my peers, by my family, by my friends. It's important that, they see you in that positive light that I see you in, because I wouldn't have married you if I didn't think it was positive. And so it's really important that we get out of these stereotypes about marriage being like I said, the old ball and chain, or it being a negative thing, it being a burden, or my wife tells me to do this, or she made me do that, or she made me wear this, or how about it being my wife cared enough about me to get me this shirt, and I look good in it, and she knows what looks good on me. She takes the time out to care for me in that way and take care of me. That's a positive thing. Not, oh, she got me that shirt and she made me wear that. Oh, she makes me wear that tie. She likes me to look my best, and actually I feel more professional. I feel more I feel smarter. I feel more handsome when I'm out there because of the time and effort that she puts into making me look good. So it's just about how you position the things that you say. So I'm not saying you have to sort of walk on eggshells, but just think about the image you're portraying. Are you just falling into that culture of, we say things in this way because everyone says it in this way, because the adverts make it seem this way? Or do we say things that are true because this is someone you love, presumably, hopefully? And,
Definitely.
so if you love them, show that love, so that it reverberates, within your own circle.
So on to communicating between yourselves. We know that we live in a world where we are all very, very busy, and sometimes you don't get a lot of time with your spouse. So one thing that we learned was if you can begin with catch-up time. I'm sure in all our business, there is a day where the two of you are at home together. And even when they are children, ask your children to go and do something else and really try to connect between the two of you. So we learned that it is really hard. Sometimes we just want to talk about the top stuff. Oh, my day was good, everything is good, and we end there. But we need to go deeper with our, okay, that is really fantastic, but how are you as a person? Ask about how the person is doing the person who lives in the human being that you see every day. There's
Yeah, your inner person.
your inner person. So ask about how that person is doing, how they are feeling, how what's happening, what is really going on in their world, to say, bring me into your world. Tell me how is your job, the decisions that you're making at work, how is that working out for you? Or if you're a teacher, how are the children? Are you still feeling like you're being effective? Try to really prolong the conversation by going deeper, and you catch up about things that have happened over the weeks or over the months or whatever, and then try then to see where you are together, and then also talk about the things that are coming up, because we all have our individual lives. Despite the fact that we're married and we live together, I have my individual life, he has his individual life. He goes to work, I do my thing. We have different people that we interact with, that we talk to, and we have different feelings about things. So when we have the time to catch up and sit and talk, we will really then understand, oh, this is what's happening in your world. Okay, so what can I do to help? You don't necessarily have to budge into someone's world.
Yeah, it's about
It's just about understanding.
So, but yeah, supporting each
Yeah.
other, but also picking your moments. But what's probably best, and Pastor Nick was really good at explaining this, was to pick a time each day. So 20 minutes of each day, where you almost build a Faraday cage around you, and it's just communication blackout, where you sit and you talk, have a cup of tea, relax. It's not an interrogation.
No TV, no WhatsApp, no
TV,
cell phones, no
That's what-
children.
exactly. Literally a Faraday cage built around you. There's no signals in or out, and it's just the both
The
of
two
you.
of you, yeah.
Sit there and just have a conversation. Now, when we speak about having a conversation, I'll just unpack a couple of things that Samantha mentioned there, where she mentioned obviously you have your catch ups, go a bit deeper, not even a bit deeper, but go deeper. Speak to each other about the things that actually affect you, because it's so easy. And I'm one of those people who can quite easily explain my day within 10 minutes. I can say this has been my day, 10 minutes, and Samantha's one of those people. I hope you don't mind me saying, who could explain her day in 24 hours. So she could take you through every single minute of every single day, and she could, do that, and she'll explain to you, we had this conversation with this person, and we discussed this, and we said this, and her reaction was this, and then she did this. And I'm one of those people who say, oh yeah, I spoke to John. Full stop. So it's important to understand what what type of people you are, but we'll come on to that in a second in terms of the type of processes that you can be. But just on this, catch up time. Have a daily catch up time where it's just maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes where you just discuss, without looking at the phone, without, watching the TV and going, and I've done that. So I'm not, negatively, viewing anyone out there who may be doing that at the moment as we are speaking about this. But I'm one of those people who in the past would just, Samantha will be talking to me about her day, and I'll be watching, I'll be listening to my World Service. I love BBC World Service. I'll be listening to my World Service, and I just be going, and I'm only half paying attention to her. And she could literally say anything at that point, and sometimes, and I'll, just agree with it. So it's important to actually zone out of everything else and really focus on your person and speak to each other. But then there's the, where it comes to things like planning, there's a much bigger conversation you might have maybe on a Sunday or a Saturday afternoon. But when you're, both, comfortable, relaxed, and, just not rushing to do something, where you can actually go through planning, where you can say, this is what's happening in my week ahead. We're doing this on this day. And I'm going to need you to do this. I'm going to need you to do that. This is where, that a little bit of, it's almost exactly like this conversation, which is more light, and it's just, beefed up a little bit, including a little bit of planning. But it's still just talking about the things that affect your person.
Yeah.
So
yeah. You have your daily catch-ups, which are really important. Then your weekly catch-ups, so that you are both in the same boat with what's happening in the week. And they also encourage us to have some proper catch-ups. So people go on holiday for a week